Hi, welcome to a new module. This is about pedagogy. What is pedagogy? It is the method and practice of teaching which can be used by the academicians in handling the teaching and learning activities of the students. This module is not meant for engineering students. Instead, it is meant for the lecturers teaching the engineering programs. In fact, non-engineering lecturer may also go through this module, as they will be a majority part of the content, which is also applicable to the non-engineering lecturers. Now let us have a quick overview about this module. Normally, this module is being introduced during the pedagogy training. This is one of the most important training conducted by the university, which is made compulsory to the young or new lecturers in the university. For example, in my institutions, for all the new lecturers that just joined in the institution, it is regardless that the lecturers have prior experience in teaching. One of the requirements is the lecturers will have to attend the pedagogy training. Normally, there are assessments. Only those passing the assessment are considered completed the module. For those who cannot pass, they will have to re-attend the pedagogy training until they are passed. After the pedagogy training, the lecturers will be given responsibility to handle class and courses independently. The lecturers are expected to apply those methods and practice in their teaching in order to ensure the quality of delivery. The pedagogy training is normally taking about 1 week, 8 hours per day, 5 to 6 days. There are so many principles to be introduced, and they consolidate everything within that 1 week. The participants will have to learn fast and quickly grasp the concepts and the principle so that they are able to learn. Now let us talk about the content of this module. There shall be 4 main chapters. First is about the outcome-based educations. Within the outcome-based educations, there shall be elements of engineering programs as stipulated by the accreditation bodies, requiring all the engineering programs to comply. The details and the informations are based on the latest requirements by the accreditation bodies by the time the video is recorded. Second chapter is about Bloom's taxonomy, and then assessment and evaluations. For chapter 3, there are 3 main parts: preparing exam questions, preparing assignments and scoring rubrics, and assessment analysis. The last chapter, it will be dealing with student-centered learning. Now let us talk about who should go through this module. If you are a young lecturer or you have an intention to start your career as a lecturer, you should attend this module. Now, if you are an experienced lecturer that you have went through the pedagogy training in your institutions, you are also strongly encouraged to go through this module. Why is it so? Because we're going to deal with the practical issues related to the pedagogy. Even though you have been through the pedagogy training, I can assure you that there are still many misconceptions that you are not aware of and have not been sorted out. Why is it so? This has to go back to the implementations of the pedagogy training. Typically, an institution will require the lecturers to attend once the pedagogy training. Everything are consolidated within that 1 week. There are so many informations to be disclosed, which are relatively new, especially for those lecturers who have just entered the academic field. Therefore, in terms of the delivery, the emphasis it will be more towards the exposure to those knowledge and methods. And the focus of the discussions, it will be more towards the elementary levels. After that, the lecturers are given responsibility to handle the course. What happened next is that the relevant principles and concept has not been fully digested, and yet the lecturer will have to teach the respective course. You will see there will be a lot of misconception, and the applications of those method and technique will be very limited. If you are an experienced lecturer and you look around among your colleagues, you know that this is actually the reality. Ask yourself, how much have you applied in your teaching for the things that you learned through the pedagogy training? And why is it so? Personally, I noticed this among my colleagues, even though those who have working for so many years. They cannot tell the heads and tails of these outcome-based educations. Many even do not believe in outcome-based educations. In their perceptions, the outcome-based educations is just some theory which is too ideal. However, when come to the applications, the impacts are minimal. In their opinions, outcome-based educations are mere document. It only adds up the working loads. Is this true? There are a lot of misconceptions about these outcome-based educations. If you are one of those, you are strongly encouraged to open your mind and go through these outcome-based educations. The first time you're being introduced with the outcome-based educations through the pedagogy training, they are meant for you to know those. But when it comes to the applications, there are a lot of details and technique. There are also considerations and circumstances that you have to be aware of. Otherwise, it will end up like what you have perceived, as if it is not working. If outcome-based education is not working, how come the entire world here still embrace on the outcome-based educations? Especially for the engineering communities in the academic field, they specifically identify the outcome-based educations needs to be applied in handling a program. Think about that. Sometimes you also come across with a lecturer still having difficulty in defining different levels of thinking orders. Their understanding about Bloom's taxonomy are only at the levels of keywords, and very often the cognitive levels has been wrongly identified. Especially these two, most often it will end up the lecturer thinks that they know all about them, which in fact it is not as easy as they think. Therefore, I would like to encourage you to go through this. We're going to discuss a lot of practical aspects. Where are the misconceptions? Where are the common errors? And what is the fundamentals of all this? This shall enlighten you to really know the techniques to handle a course. By then, you're going to appreciate this module, especially the outcome-based education, and you realize that it is actually going to be impactful to the implementations of the course and the program. Take this challenge as a part of self-improvement, and you will gain different perspectives if you initially do not believe in all this. Now let us talk about my recommendation and tips to you while undertaking this module. You will see all these are interconnected. It may seem to be separated, but they are interdependent. While going through this module, you have to have this in mind. Any of those not really properly digested and sorted out may compromise the other aspects. Therefore, make sure you are fully digesting the information disclosed in the module. Second tips, there are some specifications and details which are relevant to engineering program. The relevant informations are based on the latest rules and regulations as stipulated by the accreditation bodies. By the date of recording of these videos, the accreditation body may constantly update and improve their requirements and regulations. While going through this module, make sure you also cross-check for the latest requirements and specifications as stipulated by the accreditation bodies. And one more thing about these accreditation bodies is that different countries may have different accreditation bodies. They may have different practices as compared to the other countries. Although what we're going to disclose in these modules, I have made it to be more general, more fundamental based, so that it is also applicable for the other countries. But there could be some other additional conditions as imposed by your country. You should always keep updated with the latest requirements. Lastly, let us talk about the possible outcome of going through this module. First, if you have fully digested all the things that you learned from this module, you will have a capacity to manage a program, especially when you are given the responsibility as the head of the program or even other administration posts dealing with the programs as well as the accreditation issues. You will have a broader perspective to see a program as a whole instead of only focusing on your daily routine dealing with students and the course. This shall prepare you for your future career advancement if you are ambitious enough. With that, without further ado, let us get started. Good luck and all the best. Happy learning.